Hey guys, Adam Newbold here, retired Navy SEAL, and I was a special advisor to the CIA for a period of time. And I'm a wrestling coach. I love the sport of wrestling. And I want to talk about a few things because, I recognize some frustrations going on, and I might be able to help. I've been through it a little bit, quite a bit actually. And, there is a lot of growing with individuals, and I'm wearing my Carrollton Warriors wrestling shirt on. I'm not speaking on behalf of Carrollton Wrestling. I just love that program. I love the coaches and the kids and stuff involved there. I help out coaching with as an assistant with the youth program at Carrollton, but I run the Advanced Training Group, or ATG, Worldwide Wrestling Program in Lisbon, Ohio. But there's there is as much and more growth and learning for parents and coaches as there is for kids in these youth sports. Now, sports are I love wrestling, and it is an amazing sport, and there are so many benefits to a participant later on in life. Um, and when it comes down to it, sports are a vehicle, they're a vessel to make better people, to help make better people. All right. And that's what they're for. Now, there's all kinds of additional benefits that come along with sports, especially wrestling. Wrestling is a combat sport. Someone learns how to handle themselves, how to impose their will, how to control a situation, even without hurting someone if that is appropriate. So, I wanted to make a video though, because there a lot of times there's animosity that grows within these youth sports, and there are some really great people involved, and then they stop being friends, they stop communicating, they start butting heads. In the beginning, things seem to be going really well, but everyone is tolerant of each other, and they're kind of tiptoeing around, and they're not offensive to one another. But as they get to know each other, and your kid is always your focus. Okay, your kid is your priority, and you shouldn't make apologies for that. There's no need to make an apology for that. Now, we care about. I started ATG wrestling because I have a son that I wanted to wrestle, and we did not have a wrestling program in Lisbon, Ohio. Now, when I started that, or before I started that, we went to a neighboring area and I asked right up front in the beginning. I said, I'm going to start a wrestling program in Lisbon, Ohio. But in the meantime, can we wrestle with you? And we began wrestling. I was fully supportive of that program. Great coach, um, pretty good guy, bit of a hothead, but hey, I can be that way sometimes too. And but really a good coach, great youth coach. And as we went along, we wanted to do more. I wanted to do more with my kid, and there's tournaments every weekend. And he uh, took the position that, hey, you're going to burn them out. And I believe that normally it's not the kid that gets burnt out; it's the parents and the coaches. They have jobs, they have things that they have to do. I'm very fortunate to run my own company to where I have a lot of flexibility. So we wanted to do more, and there were other kids that wanted to do more. So we started going to um, tournaments on the weekends in addition to the school or the club Sunday league thing. Now, at that time, I had started ATG wrestling, so we began going as since our other club that we were training with, fully supportive of and loved to be a part of, um, they didn't want to be involved in those extra tournaments, so we started going as ATG. Well, some of the kids that we were training with that also went to that club wanted to come too. Of course, I'm going to invite them along, so they started going as ATG. Well, that coach got all upset because we were stealing his wrestlers. And listen, I understand that. It is so difficult when you put so much time and effort into the growth of a child, of a competitor, of a even adult with our MMA gyms and jujitsu and stuff. You feel like they're a part of something and you're contributing, and you want it's human nature to want the glory for that, to want um, them to be attached with you as they go off and do good things, and to get recognition for all of the work that you put in, because coaches put a lot of work and time into these kids. um, but so I understand that, but the problem is that there is a lot nowadays. It's not like it used to be, where you are you're at a school and you have a coach and that's it, and then you're rivals with everyone else, and it's you guys, your team against the world. It's just not like that anymore. There are clubs everywhere. There are training facilities. There are Olympians that are holding clinics, and college athletes holding clinics and training, and so these kids end up having so many influences on them and so many hands on them, helping them learn along the way. So as a man, or as a human, as a coach, it's difficult to recognize that, and to not try um, to hold on to your piece of the pie, or you know keep everything in a rice bowl. And what I recognized early on was, if my son was only going to train with me, which, believe me, we put a lot of work in, but if he only trained with me and learned from me, then he would only be as good as I ever was. Um, and that's not good enough, because I didn't have the assets available. I was one hell of a wrestler, but my son knows way more than I ever did now, because there's information with these cell phones at our fingertips, the best wrestlers in the world at your fingertips, training programs, and just so much information. So as a coach, I continue to learn every single day and figure things out and navigate things. And I invite our parents to be involved. And as parents, we learn as we go along. But I really hate to see rifts develop between great people. I have, someone I considered one of my best friends. Great, great guy, amazing family, people I really, really care about. Um, we don't even talk anymore. We haven't spoken in over 2 years, and it breaks my heart. But it was a simple thing where, you know, because we care about um, their kids, my son was wrestling a different weight class to accommodate his buddy, and then at the end of the season, we wanted to go down to his weight, not even to cut weight, to get down there, just the weight that he was weighing. And I thought that was understood and known, but apparently it wasn't, and he was upset by that. And then we went a year. I wrote a message saying, "Hey, I don't like the tension between us," and I got back a short reply, which to me just it was kind of like an fu. And so we went a whole year without talking before I said anything else, and then I just kind of blew up and aired my dirty laundry on Facebook, and yeah, that certainly further exacerbated the situation. But it's unfortunate, because there are some great people, and this sport, wrestling in particular, is full of really, really amazing people. A lot of times, type A personalities, and also a lot of adrenaline, a lot of emotion. I mean, it is high order, as we say in the explosives world, um, as far as the emotion goes and stuff. So, and when your kid's out on the mat, you feel like it's you out on the mat. It might as well be. I mean, it's even worse than when you're on the mat, because your heart is wrapped up in it. So I think, I just want to impress upon parents and coaches to always try to assume good intent, and to accept the fact that parents are looking out for their own children. That doesn't mean they're neglecting other children or they're not also assisting other children. You know, my focus, like I said, my priority is my kid, but I love having an impact on other kids as well. I love being involved with other kids and helping them grow, and I like to involve their parents as well, because their parents are watching every single thing that they're doing, and a lot of times their parents will hear what I'm saying, what I'm putting out, and they get it 100%, where the kid might only get 20% of understanding. But then their parent can watch them, where when you have 40, 50 other kids in the room, it's hard to watch individuals, and every kid is as important as any other kid. Okay, your kids are as important as my kid. All right, my kid's important to me, but that doesn't make him more important than any other kid. And every kid deserves to have individual attention, and to be a part of something, and to enjoy the accolades that come along with it and the success through difficult, arduous training. Wrestling's a different sport where there is no instant gratification. It is work, 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 blood, sweat, and tears. Down the road, you start winning, and it's very, very satisfying. But it's not shooting a basket into a hoop and then, and basketball's a great sport. We joke and make fun of it because it's during wrestling season, but there's a good feeling when that basketball goes in. Well, wrestling's not like that. The good feelings come way after a lot of work. And so the other thing that I'll say is, we have to be careful. I see it all the time, and I'm not sure if I was guilty of it, but I'm very, very aggressive and very passionate. And, I was a yeller on the side of the mats. And the reason I feel that I was because I'm still trying to teach the kids while they're wrestling, because they're youth kids. Now that they've gotten older and more advanced, when I yell, they've already done it. So it's not nearly as necessary. So I'm much more reserved. And I look at some of those older videos, and as a friend of mine called me, he said I was like a rabid cheerleader on the side of the mats. Um, but but what I hope is that when I would get angry at my child, it wasn't because I was embarrassed, and I don't think that was the case. But I do see that with parents, and I see that if their kid doesn't do as well as they think they should do, they feel it's a reflection on them, and they themselves are embarrassed. When that kid, all they really, you see it time and time again, they're looking over for dad's approval. And that's all they care about is good words from dad. Just a great job. You tried hard. I'm really proud of you. That's what they're looking for. That's what they care about. They don't care nearly as much about winning. We care about winning. Okay. They need to develop that care for winning and that drive and determination to win. But what they really want in the beginning is that approval from dad and mom. Just, you did a great job. We strive to win at ATG and at Carrollton and other programs. We train to win, and it's through striving to win that all these lessons are learned. However, winning is not the most important thing in the sport. Wrestling is. So if you can get beyond the need to win and just go out for the love of wrestling, which is very difficult to do. Um, I'm not sure it's all completely even possible, but but if you can strive for that and just go wrestle, the wins will come. The wins will come. If you're just worried about winning, sometimes you wrestle more timid because you're afraid. Instead of just wrestling because you love to wrestle, 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 wrestle. I believe that wrestling more cautiously because you're afraid of losing will lead to more losing. So, kind of like the samurai philosophy that if once you've accepted death, then you fight. There's nothing to cause reserve in your fighting. Okay, um, wrestling is not battlefield tactics, but it is a simulation of unarmed combat and controlling and battlefield type tactics. So there's a lot to learn from that, but I just really want to, I would love to have conversations with you as a coach, as a parent, and we've been discussing putting on a seminar for coaches and parents. We train in the SEAL team mindset as applied to wrestling, the warrior mindset. We've been extremely successful because the level of mindset that we train in is what I was trained in uh, in these SEAL teams. And we apply that to these sports, and it's so extremely effective in sports and in life. Um, so, we've been very, very successful, and I love to train in that with kids, but I also would like to have discussions and do some training with parents and with coaches because, um, we're not in this alone. And if we can if we can get past petty things with each other, then we can really grow because we can do a lot by ourselves. But as a team, as a group together, we can do so much more. Now I know the world's crazy and I know that there's crazy things going on, but while we can still participate in things like this, while we can still wrestle, we need to do it. And with the way that our society is and promoting uh, you know, less masculine stuff, and there's so many girls that are wrestling, outstanding young female wrestlers. But our society promotes less aggression and stuff. I think you need to be very, very aggressive, but know how to control it. And wrestling does that for you. So just I'm kind of hoping that friends of mine, people that I associate with, will reflect on what really is important. And, petty disagreements aren't as important as friendships long term. These kids are going to grow and they're going to be in contact with one another, and they should be best friends. I mean, you create bonds that should be unbreakable and are long lasting through these arduous activities. And so we shouldn't get in the way of that as parents and as coaches. We should allow that to continue to cultivate, and we should foster that. Um, but we have to have self reflection and assess things as we go along all the time. People are trying, they're spending their time, their personal time, trying to be a part of helping in these kids' growth. And I applaud that. My hat's off to that. But none of us know everything. And we need to always kind of check ourselves and just be a part of their growth. All of the glory belongs to the man in the arena. All right, not the coach on the outside. It's the person in the arena, the person getting bloody. Uh, the glory belongs to them. And so if we keep that in mind, then uh, we can allow them to get great training from lots of different folks and to be involved in things and not try to hold on so tight. Um, you know, I can't thank the people that have influenced me and my son enough. There's just so many great people and so much positive influence on my kid. Other wrestlers, other wrestling families, coaches. It's just amazing. And it's one hell of a journey. I feel blessed to be on it. I hope that you will feel the same way because we are so lucky to be able to wrestle at these high levels and to watch these kids grow and just to be a part of this ride. Um, I guess in wrapping it up, another thing that I want to say is there used to be a mentality with the schools, and it still exists some, but there used to be the mentality that, hey, that's our wrestler and they're stealing our wrestlers, and oh, those are club kids, so they shouldn't, they don't count because they're doing all of this, extra stuff. Hey, man, I think you should applaud kids that go above and beyond and families that go above and beyond. And if you want to make a mark in this sport, it is unfortunate, but you really have to go above and beyond. If you wrestle the average, the average wrestler wrestles the average amount during wrestling season, and they will always be an average wrestler, maybe a little better, but there are some that are just relentless, and they eat, breathe, and sleep the stuff, and they become very, very good. So those kids don't need to be separated and segregated as if they're not worthy of praise because they do all this extra stuff. They need additional praise. They deserve additional praise because they're doing all this extra stuff. And and if you can't, just remember, it's not always the best wrestler, the best kid, where there's no better kids and one better than the other as human beings. But choices that we make every day add up to potentially being better at certain things. And it's not just wanting to do, and it is also, it's 99% hard work, but there's a 0.5% talent that does play a part in there. As much as we want to outwork talent, there is a 0.5% that matters, and there's a 0.5% luck. Some of the best athletes in the world get injured and they're out. Sometimes their whole career is over. So luck does play a part as well. And your family's financial ability, because it's costly to do all this stuff. Your availability to travel because of schedules and stuff. Maybe there's a lot of kids from broken homes, and that plays a huge part sometimes, oftentimes, most of the time, in the kids getting kind of pulled tug of war a little bit, and one parent doesn't care as much and the other one really cares, and so all this stuff plays a part. And kind of the perfect, the ideal situation, in that situation, kids can just do extraordinary things, but very few people have an ideal situation. So we have to learn to deal with things, with the situation, the hand that we're dealt. We've got to play the hand we're dealt. All right, and it shouldn't be anything bad on anyone that can't participate more. That's they've got other priorities. Not everyone's wrestling's not everyone's top priority. Doesn't have to be. Not every wrestler has to strive like my kid does. Okay, they don't have to be fanatics at it. They still can get a lot from the sport. All right, that's for the family and the wrestler to decide. Um, but the winning thing gets in the way. We all want to win, and I think also we need to get past petty differences and arguments and stuff too. Don't let don't let these kids, um, make sure we're trying to keep it about the growth of the individual and not about winning. Again, for coming from a guy that loves to win, hates to lose, but we've got to keep our minds right and constantly reflect on things. You know, um, when kids do things that are inappropriate, okay, if they're uh, if they're throwing hands, because wrestling is not boxing, so you can't be hitting people. If they're saying bad words, swear words, stuff. If they're messing around and not focusing, uh, it's a growth process. That's why we train. It's not just to be good at wrestling. It's also training to not lose your cool, training for sportsmanship, training for all of these things. And that is training over time. That's the reason these sports exist. It's not just for the spectators in the stadium, all right? It is for growth and development of our youth. So keep that in mind as well. A kid does something that's not great, they're not paying attention, they're not a bad kid. They need they need to learn, all right? And they can be taught. Some can be taught a lot easier than others, I promise you. But that doesn't mean that they're undeserving. So it's a process, guys. It's a process. Think of how lives change through the sport. Always try to be a part of good, a source of good, not part of the problem, part of the solution. And reach out to me anytime. Come to ATG practice anytime. We practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday right now. We'll probably be hitting Fridays soon and maybe Mondays as well. We go pretty hard, but we've definitely got time for discussions. We will make time for discussions, and want you to watch for these upcoming training sessions with coaches and parents, and also just roundtable discussions. Because like I said, I don't know everything, and I'm learning constantly, and I really feel blessed to have great folks in my life, and and I always look to surround myself with great people who can help me be a better person. So thanks for all you do, and if I can help in any way, please let me do so. It's my pleasure, it's my privilege, and I really thank you for the opportunity. God bless, stay strong, keep the faith. Hoo-yah. Oh, and as we say at ATG, never quit.